One of the amazing parts of this whole project is the fact that people recognize the significance of St. Luke's and the importance of the Bridger family to the history of this site and the history of White Marsh and the families that were active here in the past.
Well, it was actually the idea of the Smithsonian Institution. They were going to have a temporary exhibit called Written in Bone, and they knew Joseph Bridger was buried here, and they knew he was inside the church in the chancel. So they knew that more than likely his bones would be better preserved than someone that had been in the ground for that long. We were hoping that they would get enough of his skull to do a facial reconstruction. However, when they opened the small box where the bones were, there was not enough of his skull. There was only part of his jaw and the top of the skull.
What really came about is much of a mystery in the sense that through these previous excavations, when we worked at the secondary burial of Colonel Bridger, one of the things that we realized is that much of the skeleton was missing. It was not all there. Where could it be? And so that led to the excavation of his grave at White Marsh, archaeological excavations by Alan Outlaw, the archaeologist in charge of this project. And in investigating that, determined that everything had been taken out. And so we're going to, in terms of the questions, we're going to be looking at the grave of Anne Randall, in part to see if any bones of Joseph Bridger were mixed up and put there, because they would love, if in an ideal world, they would love to be able to do that facial reconstruction.
Nobody can say they've dug up their 10th great-grandfather and tested DNA. That just doesn't happen, so this is very unique. Joseph Bridger is a very important man in history, and we want to honor him and do whatever we can to make him known to Virginia and the world.
I should be able to say whether we have one person present, whether we have two people present, whether we're dealing with a man or a woman. There's not a lot. As with almost all women, there's this much known, and we want to expand that story. I'm very interested in her story. The science is evolving so rapidly, it will tell me who they were, much about their life, and it is a fascinating story. And it is a fascinating story that I think is an opportunity to learn about someone that nobody wrote any written records about. We don't know who they are, but the bones, if you listen very carefully and use modern science, you can tell a lot about who they were and what their life was like. And I find those personal stories fascinating.